Hello everyone, welcome. I am so happy to be finally doing this. If you look on my channel page, you can see this channel is super old. It's many months old now. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, but now I finally get a chance to. I am Arias, a Conlanger, world builder, writer, linguist, and nerd in general. I'm probably gonna do a lot of things here, just anything that I'm interested in at the time. On my channel page I have a list of things I might cover at some point, but probably my primary focus is going to be conlanging. So this is a blank template that I have made, which I'm going to be using for a conlang that's just an example of how I make a language. Obviously there are many, many ways to go about this process. This is just intended to give you a sample of how I do it. Most people will tell you to start out with your phonology, and in general, I think that is a good principle to follow. Obviously, there are many different ways you can do it. Not all of them begin with phonology, but I just like to make a language and see where it takes me. This is going to be the proto-language, then I'll evolve a whole family from it. So we're probably going to have all of these. Maybe you could get rid of one of those, probably R. Maybe you could have B instead of P. You could go lower. Obviously, like Rhodocos would be missing these 3 rows. But it might raise a couple eyebrows. However, given that this is a proto-language, I need some interesting things to be happening from it. So maybe uvular series. Almost certainly going to have a voicing distinction too. Now as for voicing the uvular, I guess maybe. I'm not sure about using that. Now, affricates will also be welcome in this row. Ch, j, almost certainly nya, and sh and j, and then we get a place for y. The only problem with having a place for y is that I don't get to make my yeah you think you're so special pun. Now that I think about it, it's probably for the better that I don't get to make that pun. It was terrible. So this is just general phonology. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it this way. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to keep it this way. Almost certainly there will be some changes to this. But this isn't too far-fetched a consonant inventory. It's actually pretty standard. I really don't like doing standard things. I mean, obviously you should listen to the standard, but sometimes, questioning the standard can be a really good thing. You can get so much out of it. So many useful, interesting things can arise from questioning the standards. I mean, just because you hear something doesn't mean it has to be true. And obviously, anything, it could go any way. It could be anything. You can turn anything into anything you want it to be. You don't have to listen to any orthodox things. If something feels right, then you should do it. I think I'm on a lot of government watch lists now. Should probably edit that part out of the video. And back. I don't have the heart to do central vowels. I do not like central vowels. In fact, I'm ditching mid vowels too. They can all just die. 3 vowels. 4 vowels. I would really like 4 vowel systems. This is Gunlai. And then replace this with the low rounded back vowel, and I think this was just plain A, but it doesn't really matter. And you get the phonology of the first language I tried to do on YouTube. The channel is still there. It's called World Quill. It's not a very good channel. It's really not. I might do. This is the phonology of Arapaho, I think. Okay, I was close. It's retracted tongue root. Arapaho is a really fascinating language, one of my favorites. Okay, syllable structure. I think C, V, R, where R stands for any. I like really complicated stress rules. So then this gives rise to some pretty weird things. So if you have, one syllable, na, 2, miya, 3, musushi, 4 is higawasi. Yeah. Okay, that's nice. So it's like the stress is on the first syllable. The stress is on the. Yeah, that's a really cool rule. Yeah, I like that stress system. It's fun to have confusing stress that's regular. I feel like this is pretty standard. If I don't write a certain character on here, that just means if I don't write a certain character on here, that just means I'm using its IPA for it. This is technically a different character, so I'm being extremely pedantic and putting that up there. So this sound I've seen a lot of ways to Romanize. I've seen this. I've seen GQ. So we'll leave that blank for now. I try to use only one diacritic per language. I think the overdot might be what I end up doing. So like these could be the uvulars. We will see though. Sorry if my voice sounds weird, by the way. So for this I could do NG, or I could just use the ECMA. I think I'm gonna go with the NG. Just because the font that I usually use for my writing is Allegria, for like everything except Conlang. And there the capital ECMA looks like so bad. Lowercase one looks fine, I guess, but the capital, it's just terrible. Like, look at that. You can barely even tell. Whereas Times New Roman, it is this, which is much, much better. But I think I'm going to go with NG, so. But to the editor of Times New Roman. But to the editor of Allegria, if you could get that changed, get with the Times New Roman. The puns will fall thick and fast with me. I'm sorry. Probably going to keep the X. That'll be a GH. K and K. Since this is a proto-language, I'm allowed to give it an extremely ugly writing system. Since this is a proto-language, I'm allowed to give it a super ugly romanization. I would not stand by while trigraphs like those existed if it were a modern language, though. Okay, this looks good. I think I like the aesthetic of this language. We should probably add an allophonic rule about the the uvular lowering. The downside of this is that we do need to add that to our list. Okay. And there we go. Alright. Basic questions we need to ask about this language. Its head directionality, what it marks, probably degree of synthesis, though that's not really a quantified thing, so maybe I shouldn't put it on here. We'll see. So head directionality. Let's think. So of the other languages that are spoken in this Kan world, Yosho is strongly head initial. The only thing that's head final is possessive phrases. Now on the B, is on the B head initial or head final? Take a moment to admire that phonology. On B has one of the weirdest phonology, and it's split into the high and low variety. I might do a showcase sometime once it's more complete. I started pretty recently. Okay. Yep, head initial. So, we can safely say that name was head final. Speaking of, a name for this language would probably be nice. So once we have some basic syntax, we could get that. This way we can have a nice long verb template with lots of prefixes. I really like prefixes as opposed to suffixes. I think I prefer prefixes. So, word order. Well, why is that bold? And add SOV, OSV, or OVS. We can go with the most common. We can go with the most common system, or we can go with either of the two least common systems. In the world. I don't want to do either of these without justification, so I think SVO is the way to go. Adjectives. Well, it depends if we're doing noun-like or verb-like adjectives. Maybe if we say but it's all past tense. Why would you? Why? No. Okay, yeah. Thank you. But in this case, if the adjectives evolve from nouns, which is a feature that I used in Yosho, but will probably be fine, if they evolve from as opposed to actually being nouns, then x, y, well, what would we do about tense in this context? But we'll see. Should probably have a section about adjectives then. Adjectives probably preceded nouns. Oh my goodness. Okay, verbs. Probably subject, object, root. Probably after those get affixed. Now anything else would probably come after those got affixed. Maybe tense would come before it. And then, now there is no instance of an exclusively prefixing language as far as I know, so we would have to have something that comes after it. So probably the infinitive would come after. But for now, this is, well, let's start with just the root and then modify it. So probably pretty useful would be a verb for to speak, because we could derive the name of the language from it. So maybe something like Shihua. Well, Shihua. Shihua. That's a pretty fitting name for a language. Don't you agree? 喜欢. Obviously, all of these definitions will be elaborated on later. All of these definitions will be elaborated on later, I'm sure. Just for now, we need their basic meanings. So then originally you just have 喜欢. And then, let's get our pronouns, might as well. As far as I know, people don't really know the general lexical source for a first-person pronoun. It's just like a special grunt that they had back when language was first evolving, so we can probably get away with anything we do to the pronouns. So we can probably get away with just making something up there. Again, this is all very, very general. Things will certainly change about the layout of this graph. That is just for reference. So what's something that's very I-ish? Maybe like C. Maybe? So then you'd have C, 喜欢. And then for I speak it, well, actually maybe let's change this to something that's definitely transitive. We'll need it to be, we'll just assume it's transitive. We can probably get away with having something intransitive at some point. We can probably, we'll see what we do with transitivity in the end. So in this case, a third-person pronoun could come from something. I want to do an animacy split also, so why is it only giving me the option to insert a column on the left? I don't want to go too hard with the animacy hierarchy, because LB already has a three-way animacy distinction. So I don't want to do something like that again. Alright, maybe like azul. Wait, no. You can't do that, so azur. That's nice. I'm recording. Hello. I know. So this would be thing. And then the stress syllable is zur. So maybe zu. So see zu, 喜欢. And then if you want to say I have eaten it, then that past morphology usually arises from the perfective, which is generally which comes from something like finish. So we could say okay. Well, it would be spelled like that. There. That can mean But then how would we express? So that would be subject, verb phrase, klingaka, klingaka. So then, and the verb phrase is V. So then, stress syllable is nga, so maybe like that. Like that. So it would be like shi huang. And if we assume this was a verb, it would be azurung. I like that. That's not bad. So then the original phrase would be I finish thing eating, which makes some sense. So it's like this, and then that gets suffixed, and then that gets prefixed. So that ends up being, that's 4 syllables, so Sizu Shi Huang. Sizu Shi Huang. Something like that. Alright, that works. So subject, object, root, tense. And then the future might be something like approach. So we could do something like Nyuho. Hello.
Hi. Can I come in?
Yes, you can come in. Sorry. This is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's it's kind of cool.
What?
Have you ever looked to see that they're by some person called Crazy Dad? Have you ever seen that?
No.
The New York Times. And I think his books, he made them by Crazy Dad, like during the pandemic. And then they started having them in the New York Times.
Oh,
like,
that's cool.
The guy who does the New York Times.
That's really cool.
Crazy Dad with a K.
I would like to get back to the video.
Well, I mean, I know I need to go.
I need to have some semblance of progress on this. It can be a 10-minute episode, but it needs to at least be an episode, since I can't add it together in multiple clips. So, like 10 more minutes probably, I can get some useful stuff. I'll go and edit it in my own bed. So if this means to approach, now ho. Sorry, I need to get my Hebrew muscles ready. So here ho is the stress syllable. That doesn't really lend itself to morphology. So it might be that the future tense is just an u suffix. Or like, there would probably be some sort of epenthetic consonant. So maybe we change this to nuho. So that feels like it should be spelled that way. So nuho, and then it's just nu. So we can make our verbs. I have this template because I have some very specific formatting that I use on my sheets. So So the subject and object part is actually identical to our pronoun table. So these can be singular, plural, or maybe we want to do a palco, dual, maybe a trio. I had a trio in LDA that was like really stretching it. That was already a language that was kind of stretching it a little bit, at least by my standards. So here we can literally just copy this over to this sheet. Yeah, people will tell you Excel is good. I've never tried it, so I can't really judge, but I use Google Sheets, and it is my personal favorite, so haha. Okay, there. So, si and zu. Or maybe we could do, like, the subject is a consonant and the object is vowel. I'll have to think about that. That doesn't seem that natural to me. That feels like a bit too perfect, you know. Tense. So we said the past was the copy vowel with the n. The past was n. That copy vowel can probably just be a general rule, and then there. So I'll have that. Should probably be bolded. So. So for example, we need a verb that ends with a noun. We need a verb that ends with a consonant for this. So probably something simple like igual. That sound is so unusual, but what languages do have it, I wonder? Alright, Arabic. Alright, Sudanese Arabic. Yemeni Arabic, Australian English as a pre-uvular one. Most of these seem to be allophones. Kwakwala seems to have it phonemically. And Tabasaran. It does not seem to be very common. So the ta. So it's found in ta. That is not a language I want to be copying the phonoaesthetic of. I can't do clicks. I really can't do clicks. Whatever. it's a unique feature of this language. To stand. That's pretty useful in terms of derivation. So okay, there. Get rid of these rows. Okay, we need the rest of the pronouns then. So we need our dual, which will just come from a numeral 2. So what are some sounds that we haven't used yet? So we still need to use a lot of things generally back here. So maybe we do like euro, 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 euro. I have a feeling I'm gonna get a very sore throat once I do too much of this language. So that is our numeral 2, and that means that the lu is our dual. I really don't want to be seeing a lot of that. No, my poor throat. And second person can come from, like, head, their, person even can be a second person pronoun. I'm not sure really what to do, because person seems like it should be a third person pronoun to me, so bimasang can be our word for Mom, crinkling paper. Sorry. After thinking for about 120 seconds, I've decided, screw it, I'm just making a new route. Oh, okay. So we'll see what I'll see what I do for the verbs. I accidentally entered these on the verb sheet. So sangho, sangho, sangho. Wait. And then, so then we just need a word for person. Shh, please. Ngaju. Ngaju. Okay, so then, ju. There, and now we just need the plural marker, which will probably be pretty old. Can you please? Actually, these would probably be initial, because it's a head final language. Yeah, I probably should have thought of that. Imagine if that had gone untreated. That would be terrible. I would never live it down. I'd probably start over. Actually, I probably would, wouldn't I? Comments tell me if I do something like that. Sagui. I think most of our words are gonna end up looking something like this. 2 syllables, ultimate stress. Without the prefixes. So, kengaka is our longest word so far. So then this would be an adjective. And our adjectives are derived from nouns. Or maybe... So we could have something like bat. Then maybe also mean that, just for funsies. So then meaning noun, like was derived from a noun via saki. Wait. Yeah, it is a postposition. And this means adjectives proceed. Yes. Okay. Some adjectives are older and do not follow this pattern, and some nouns used as roots have been lost or generalized. Okay, so you might have a word Bigun. Sounds kind of like be gone. So that might mean pillar or tower. So then bihungui would mean tall. So then you have this.
There's a little bit more that has to be said.
Dad?
There's a boy in my bed.
Hello. I will leave. However, could you please be quiet long enough for me to record an outro?
Sure.
Okay.
What you making?
Trying to redo the Let's Conlang videos. Could, no sound, please?
But we're talking right now. You're not recording right now.
Oh, I was planning to record.
But that's two different things.
Yes, but,
This is the part where you tell me to be quiet, and I agree, and then I leave, and then you do the recording, right?
right, that is this part.
You sure you don't want some music? Rock and roll and Conlang, that's a match made in heaven.
Oh my goodness. I'm clipping that and making it a YouTube short.
Sweet.
Alright. Now some things have come up and I need to go. There is one thing, though, that I just realized. We have an ambiguous romanization. Now, no one likes an ambiguous romanization. So, I'm changing our NG back to the regular Angma. Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, this language lasted long enough without a fancy IPA character. I love using them in my romanizations. Now, I have to go. Goodbye. Yeah, I will try to find a less noisy time to do the next one.